Avi Meyers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. We're on the web at ntnm.org. All the shows from the last 8-9 years are available via YouTube, communitypolicingcaps24.org. From here on in, you're going to see almost 100% candidates, unless there's some other issue that's, that we find worth talking about. But we're going to go candidates all the way. We especially concentrate on judges and judicial because no one else does. It's something that can affect your life in so many ways. And it is a pleasure to introduce you to a candidate in the 6th Sub-Circuit of Cook County, Ed Underhill. How are you?
Very nice to meet you. Thank you.
My pleasure. And I want to thank Brandon and your last name, Enander, for bringing you to my attention and getting you over here. So first, why don't you give us some of your background?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Ed Underhill. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I went to Bogan High School, worked on the docks for a store called Weebolt's in the old days at Ford City. If you don't know it, it was the equivalent of Macy's. It's now closed. And then I went to college at Northern Illinois University. I'm a double Husky, meaning I went there for law school as well. Was fortunate enough to join the firm I'm at today 31 years ago. So I've been a lawyer for 31 years at the same firm. I've been on probation since the day I got there, but I'm hoping to get off eventually. I do a mix of things, mostly civil litigation, some criminal defense. And when I was in law school, I had a brief stint as a state's attorney out in DeKalb County. That was a short time, but it had a profound effect on me. And so I've been a lawyer for about 31 years.
Very good. So that's not a bad amount of experience.
Not a bad amount of experience.
Okay, where is the 6th Sub-Circuit?
That's a great question. The 6th Sub-Circuit is basically the heart of it is Humboldt Park, Logan Square, Bucktown, Wicker Park. But it's a kind of a complicated area. It includes 8 or 9 neighborhoods all the way up to Irving Park, down south to Ukrainian Village, and includes 6 or 7 wards, including my ward, which is the 32nd Ward, and primarily the 32nd Ward and the
that's Scott Waxback.
Yeah, that's Scott's. He's my alderman.
Good guy.
Very good guy, independent, strong. I can tell you from all the canvassing that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks that Scott is very well liked and regarded in our yeah.
Yeah, he should be. He's the only honest man in city council.
Well, that's a strong statement, but you are the expert. I know he's certainly one of them.
There might be a couple others accidentally.
Every now and then someone walks in accidentally in the wrong door. They might be, so.
Yeah, it does happen, and then all of a sudden you find out 10 years later they got indicted for something.
Right. Well, an indictment's not a conviction, as I often tell my clients. So.
And that has happened to independent aldermen, or they turn out to be slumlords, or who knows what.
Yeah.
But okay, so it's everything in the city is gerrymandered to a certain extent, but.
Yes.
The fact is, you're not, now what people probably don't know about judicial campaigns is you are not allowed to campaign like a normal office. You know, if you were running for alderman, you can promise people 40 acres and a mule. You could say you're going to change this, you're going to change that. You can give your opinions about all sorts of things. When you're running for judge, you're limited in terms of what you can tell people.
That's correct. You're limited. You can't make any promises. You can't explain what you would do on the bench if you had a particular case. All you can do is tell them your credentials, who you are, what your experiences are, and hope that they will trust you and that they will appreciate that your experience and that your commitment to the neighborhood, for example, is what qualifies you to be a judge. In my particular instance, I want to say I've lived in Chicago almost my entire life. Grew up on the South Side, lived in East Rogers Park, not very far from where we are conducting this interview. And I've been in Bucktown for 14 years. So to me, being a part of a community, being part of a neighborhood is very important. That's why I chose to run in sub-circuit rather than for a county-wide position, because I think our neighborhoods, our communities are hungry for good, qualified, independent judges. But judges who also reflect the values of the neighborhoods they come from. We created a sub-circuit system so that we would be electing people from neighborhoods. Chicago is a city of neighborhoods. I think we would all agree with that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to reflect the values of your neighborhood, and that's what I believe I'm uniquely qualified to do, and that's why I'm running.
Very good. Now, how do you go about campaigning?
Well, that's a great question. My learning curve on that has been tremendous in the last 6 months. But you first have to understand what the neighborhoods are that make up your sub-circuit. And then you have to go door to door. You have to meet the voters. You have to meet the prospective voters. You have to register voters. It requires an organization. You have to have a campaign manager, a paid campaign manager. I have Brandon. He's terrific. He's taught me a lot. I may be his worst pupil, but right now I'm his only pupil. So we have a good relationship.
By the way, you happen to be 100% right. And people who are running for judge who do not have a good campaign manager and who do not get an election lawyer are likely to be off the ballot or get so few votes it's not even funny.
Yeah, that's true. I have an excellent election lawyer, Rich Means. He guided us through the process, and no one challenged our petitions. And I think that's important, because what a lot of people may not know is if you submit your petitions, and if they're challenged, you have to have a lawyer and a team of people to defend it. And that itself is expensive, and that can bankrupt your committee. You can spend 3 or 4 months trying to raise money and then spend it all defending a petition challenge.
Not to mention the time you should be spending campaigning. You're busy working on the appeal.
Yes, agreed. You really should spend all of your time in your sub-circuit, talking to people, getting to know them, hoping to register voters and to connect with voters.
No, absolutely, 100%. That's definitely important stuff. Do you actually have an office, or?
Yes, I do have an office. We opened it this week. I had the pleasure of spending this morning at Comcast picking up the equipment so we have internet. But we have an office open, and it's on Damon Avenue, just short of Webster, 2127 North Damon. So anyone who's interested in volunteering or helping, please come by, or to get a cup of coffee or to meet the candidate. Happy to welcome you.
Yeah, are you available if people want you to speak, or if people want to have a coffee to get to know you? Are you available for these things?
Yes, I am available. I even bring my own coffee if necessary.
Now, another question is, when you don't have anything you're able to schedule yourself, are you still out campaigning every day? Do you go to places?
Yes. Well, I have to say, Brandon misled me a little bit to make me think that I would be able to maintain my law practice from 9 to 6 every day during the week. But as it turns out, once you get past the holidays, you're involved in a lot of activities on a day-to-day basis. Interviews with the various groups that want to endorse you. You have to meet voters and other groups that want to meet the candidates. So we're rather involved already in the process. Last week, or the weekend that just passed, we just began our official canvassing, and we began that on Saturday morning, did it all day Saturday and then all day Sunday as well. And we'll repeat that again this weekend until March 15th.
No, it sounds good. It sounds like you've got a good plan. It sounds like Brandon's doing his job for you.
He is. He's terrific. The thing I want to stress to people who may not be that familiar with how judges are elected in the city of Chicago.
We've got 1 minute, by the way.
Very good. Is to stress this. Most people encounter the judges and courts only at traffic court when they go. And they might not think that the election of judges otherwise impacts their life on a day-to-day basis or in a real way. But it does. And I give an example. 3 weeks ago, a judge in Chancery decided that the video that the police were trying to hold, they wouldn't release, of Laquan McDonald being shot, that judge decided that video had to be released. And the release of that video, I think, has shown everybody that it's had an impact on everybody's life going forward. Not just the individuals involved, but it's impacted Chicago. The whole world is looking at Chicago right now and our criminal justice system. And hopefully, good judges, can usher in a new era of civil rights and civil justice and criminal justice reform. That's what I'm hoping all of our candidates will do.
You got a website?
I do have a website. It's Ed Underhill for Judge, and we have a Facebook page. Please come look at my Facebook page and like it. And I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for joining us, Ed.
All right, sir.
Thanks to my entire tech crew, Sonny Hirsch. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Bye-bye.